We're back here in my old stomping grounds right across the street from Palomar Airport, where I used to teach flying. Today we're going to check out Carlsbad's newest tap room and brewery, Rouleur Brewing. Let's go inside and meet with the owner, Rawley Macias. Hey Rawley, thanks so much for having us here today.
No problem.
I saw the article in the UT a few weeks back and I was like, I got to check out. It's a new brewery. I love checking places out. So tell me, how did you get into brewing? How did that interest get there? Tell us about Rouleur.
Yeah, sure. I'm 34 years old and started brewing 12 years ago at Cal Poly while I was going to school there. I was a mechanical engineering student back then, and bought a homebrew kit from Doc's Cellar in San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
And the home brewing just kept progressing to kind of a second job almost, where I built my own home brewery at home.
Okay.
Being a mechanical engineer, it's an automated system at home. And then eventually got an opportunity to make this come true. So I quit my engineering job and haven't paid myself since. So that's been a little hard because that was a nice paycheck. And started this brewery here in Carlsbad. It's called Rouleur Brewing, and if you can tell by the background, one of my other passions is cycling. Okay. So both those passions, brewing and cycling, kind of are combined here at Rouleur.
I know how many breweries there are in San Diego. I mean, San Diego, Portland, I mean, this is brewery central here, but probably as many breweries as there are real estate agents. So I know it's hard to differentiate yourself. What is it that you think is different about Rouleur? What do you see as kind of your opportunity or your demographic? Like, who are you really reaching out
so
to?
one thing, truthfully, when I was launching the business, I was wondering if I was going too cycling specific, but I think it's worked out in that you don't need to be a cyclist to understand or appreciate just coming into our tasting room. I mean, some of these photos behind me have a lot of emotion into them, and really we're just a physical group. I ride bikes. I used to race bikes, not professionally at all. It was just amateur. Yeah. But, I'm going to get way overweight if I drink beer and don't exercise. So I love riding my bikes. We host rides out of here once a week. And it just brings together a good group of, our demographic is really, we get a lot of professional workers with jobs and families, but are also active lifestyle. So we're going to be participating in a lot of cycling events in the community. So you'll see Rouleur Brewing sponsoring those events, Bike for Cancer rides and all kinds of stuff like that.
That's awesome. It's got to be hard as a new business owner trying to get the word out. I mean, I think that article in the UT, that's how I found out about you and got here. But you mentioned a younger demographic. Are there different ways, online, social media?
Yeah, social media is definitely our biggest player right now. Really, that's the way we're meeting new customer groups, is through social media and our website, and things like articles and TV really do help. And then just sponsoring events, that seems to help a lot. Going to Beer Fest, sponsoring charities, sponsoring rides, that helps a lot, we've been finding. But it is true that San Diego is a saturated market. You can't just rely on offering beer, and it has to be good beer to be in San Diego, otherwise you're gonna fall.
Well, the social media and reaching that younger demographic, I mean, there's definitely parallels to what I'm doing selling homes. You're trying to get people here to the brewery. We're trying to get people to a house that we're selling, and the demographic is really shifting, and I'm sure you're seeing it too. But with millennials, it's really interesting is that if you look back, the average age of a first-time home buyer is 33. And we are only right now hitting that millennial kind of wave of first-time home buyers. So we definitely hit social media. And the funny thing is, the breweries, the tap rooms really are growing. We have a listing in Encinitas that is right up the street from Brewer's Tap Room, and I understand that you've got your beers on tap there.
Yeah, we're on tap there right now.
This property is actually in a really secluded part of Encinitas, and yet it's right up the street to the restaurants, to the tap room. But the property is a Napa farmhouse. It is very much a contemporary, cool design that, again, the younger buyer young families starting out. They want space. They want a big enough yard where the kids can play. It's got a bocce ball kind of area. It's got the bifolding doors that open out, so you get that total indoor-outdoor living, and high ceilings, just natural light. But it's that sharp, crisp, contemporary, clean lines. That's what buyers are wanting. It's not just the younger buyers, but that's what really sets this property apart. So, but it's really interesting just seeing how things shift, both in real estate and in your business.
Yeah, and same thing with the taste room. You look around, you know, 5 years ago in San Diego, you could rely on a taste room that was in a business park and it felt like you were walking into a warehouse. That's the way San Diego beer was 5 years ago on these small taste rooms. Now, you have to put a lot of time and branding and money into your taste room because it has to be a spot that people want to go to. It has to have a good feel, a good vibe that showcases your brand. So you know, that you can just see how it's changing, and the tastes of the consumer and what's important to them is changing.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's shifting. No matter whether you're in the beer industry or real estate, things always change, and you got to stay ahead.
Yeah.
So no, that's awesome. I wish you the best of luck. Obviously, I love finding new places. I love coming to visit, and I know you've got San Diego Beer Week that we just finished, and you had a release there, a new release of a coffee IPA, which is insanely good.
Yeah, there's
congrats on that.
To stand out also in the industry, you have to do, there's a lot of collaborations going on, which is great. And it's basically different entities brewing a beer together. It could be two breweries, it could be a beer writer and or a blogger and a brewery. But you know, the customers now want some stability with their beers. They want to have their regular go-tos at a brewery, but they also want to see you know, changing beers, experimental beers, one-time beers. So that beer in particular that we just released was a collaboration between two beer writers, Craft Beer Ray and Women's Beer Collective. They're local, and we came up with a coffee-style IPA, and it's brewed with coffee from Leap Coffee, which is one of my neighbors. They're right down the street.
Oh, cool.
So they did a cold brew, and we infused that into the coffee, and then released it on Saturday, the 11th, with donuts, and it was awesome. So that's a fun event, but that's what you have to do really to stand out in this industry, is you have to just constantly offer something new to the customers. They don't get bored, you know.
Rawley, I'm so glad I found Rouleur. Tell our viewers, how can they find you, and when are you open?
We're right across from Palomar Airport Road on El Camino Real, and we're open 7 days a week.
All right, perfect. Well, I so appreciate the time, and I'll definitely be back.
Thank you.